Listen, we Americans are fabulous tippers, and the rest of the world knows this. Most foreign nations don't like tipping, preferring to pay a little more to provide servers with a living wage. But for now, it is what it is. Now, it's widely known that cruise ship workers don't earn a lot of money, with sometimes 10 to 14-hour shifts 7 days a week. Fortunate American passengers like us hope to share a little of our wealth with those hardworking cruise ship employees. So about a year ago, we heard something about a potentially misleading method that allows cruise lines to allocate our automatic daily gratuity funds to supplement guaranteed cruise worker salaries, instead of providing additional funds to those cruise workers in the form of tips. Nah, it couldn't be, I thought. I mean, this has to be a lie. How could big companies get away with something so apparently misleading? So I looked over the supposed crew member pay stubs that were posted by former cruise ship employees on Asian social media channels, and then anonymously shared to Reddit in the US. And there it was. The tips area on these 4 documents appear to reduce the cruise company's guaranteed salary responsibility by exactly the gratuity distribution amount. Now, I have to disclose that these could be fake. I don't know where they came from or if someone photoshopped something to make the cruise lines look bad. We just don't know, and we can't verify this. We actually tried, and more on that later. But still, I thought this was incredibly misleading nonetheless. Any reasonable cruiser would be correct to assume that an automatic daily gratuity was just that, a gratuity, or better known as a tip here in the States. Now, most of us think a tip is an extra fee paid to a worker by a customer to reward that customer for great service. As a matter of fact, it said the word tip is actually an acronym for the phrase to ensure promptness. So I attempted to call the cruise lines to verify that my automatic daily gratuities were going to the correct departments, distributed in the way I thought they were. Surely someone could verify that my gratuities were being distributed on top of the guaranteed salaries and rewarding those hardworking dishwashers and laundry workers and others, right? I began with customer service and always ended up somewhere else, all passing the call along to some other department. Yes, the money goes to crew members, they told me. We already knew this. But no one could answer the question about offsetting contract payments. I was passed along, actually disconnected a few times. Sadly, I didn't record those calls, but I will next time. Finally, back in November 2024, I drafted this email and sent it to all the PR contacts I could find at the major cruise lines. Here's what it read. Dear cruise line teams, I hope this message finds you well. I'm reaching out to inquire about how automatic daily gratuities are distributed among the crew members on your ships. We are assisting in producing a YouTube video that explains this process. Specifically, I am interested in understanding how these gratuities are allocated. Could you provide information on which departments or roles receive portions of the daily gratuities and how the distribution is managed to ensure fair compensation for the staff who contribute to the guest experience? Thank you for your time and assistance. I look forward to learning more about your practices regarding gratuity distribution. Warm regards, Tim Cruz. Fast forward to August 2025. It's nearly a year later, and I still have not heard anything from any of the cruise lines we emailed. Normal? Maybe. But this is troubling to a lot of people. Like me, you may have been incorrectly assuming your automatic daily gratuities covered all your tips on top of their salaries. Now, at $18.50 a day per passenger, times 2 passengers, our tips were $259 on my last 7-day cruise. And that's a healthy amount of money to share on top of what I already paid for my cruise. I thought it was incredibly convenient. One less thing I had to worry about so I could enjoy my vacation, right? But if that was the case, why were room attendants still leaving tip envelopes in my stateroom? Now, if what I read on Reddit was true, both you and I may have been unsuspectingly stiffing those hard-working cruise ship workers by trying to do the right thing. Many cruisers are reporting that once they board the ship, they immediately remove their automatic daily gratuities by visiting the guest services desk. We tried it on 4 different cruise lines, and we were able to remove those fees from our room with no trouble, often with no questions asked. So what's really going on here? Well, let's dig into the math. Most cruise workers don't work directly for the cruise lines. They're contracted by some third-party agency who is then paid by the cruise company. They probably take a commission from each employee and in return pay the employee a guaranteed monthly salary. The salary depends on the position, and we're not sure what those numbers are. They're hard to find. But let's do some rough math to illustrate. Someone commented on one of our videos that a cruise ship dishwasher may make a guaranteed wage of, let's say, $1,000 a month. And say everyone leaves their automatic daily gratuities on their room, and a bigger ship sails in peak season with 4,000 passengers. So 4,000 times $1,850 per person times 7 days equals about $518,000. So then you subtract commissions, taxes, fees, and whatever, divide it up among the non-managers, and assume there's, let's just say $200 left for each person. So you multiply that by 4 weeks to create a month, and it's 200 times 4 equals $800 per employee. So an average reasonable person would expect that $1,000 a month dishwasher would get his $1,000 guaranteed salary plus a nice $800 bonus for a total of $1,800 that month for all of his or her hard work. That doesn't seem like a lot in America, but that's a pretty healthy paycheck in some parts of the world. But these documents that we're seeing are saying something else may be happening. So now instead of that hard-working dishwasher getting a check for $1,800 at the end of the month, he's still only getting the $1,000 that was guaranteed in his contract. So what happened to the $800 in tip money? Well, if what they're saying is true here, that $800 may be used by the contractor or the cruise line to supplement that guaranteed salary. So if that's true, that means the contractor or cruise company is taking that $800 in tip money you left, and yes, they're giving it to the employee, but then they may be reducing the amount they have to pay him and her because you're taking care of the rest. So now the cruise line is only on the hook for $200 that month, and your tips paid the $800, the rest of that $1,000 guaranteed salary. Now my problem is that worker may have got nothing else on top of that $1,000. I thought I was giving members of the team some additional money, but it turns out I may have been supplementing the cruise line instead. And that's not what I thought I was doing. Oh, and some people think the 18% service charge on every bar drink also goes into that bucket, but we're not sure about that. We don't know that for a fact, but it's definitely suspicious considering. Now, the cruise lines are tricky. On their websites, there are statements about the automatic daily gratuities that specifically state something to the effect of, on Royal Caribbean and Celebrities websites, it reads, gratuities collected are distributed to crew members, including dining, bar, and culinary services staff, stateroom attendants, hotel services teams, as well as others on board who work to enhance the overall cruise experience. Or, as Carnival says, 100% of your gratuities are distributed to the crew who you interact with, such as your stateroom attendants, dining, and culinary services staff, as well as other members of the onboard team who work behind the scenes to enhance your overall cruise experience. NCL, Norwegian Cruise Line, seems to be slightly more forthcoming with, our crew, as are the crew from other lines, is encouraged to work together as a team. Staff members, including complimentary restaurant staff, stateroom stewards, and behind-the-scenes support staff, are compensated by a combination of salary and incentive programs that your service charge supports. MSC basically says the same thing, although they're a little more vague. So, while it is true that the employees are getting your automatic daily gratuity money, they're not getting anything extra from the money you assumed were your tips. Royal, Carnival, Celebrity, and NCL also state that you can remove these automatic daily gratuity charges from your room prior to disembarkation. Now, it turns out, according to the comments on one of our videos, a lot of people are already removing their automatic daily gratuities, opting to pay cash instead to the people who serve them directly. So the hope is they're taking that $129.50 or so per person, and they divide it up in cash between their room attendant, waiters, and favorite bartenders. Some people don't do that at all, and they just stiff everyone in general, and don't be one of those people. Nonetheless, this leaves the poor dishwasher and laundry worker with no additional tips or gratuities, because you can't really go visit these people on a cruise ship. They're hidden away in these tiny places that you're not allowed to access as a guest. Now, if the automatic daily gratuity salary subsidy situation is true, the dishwashers and laundry people weren't getting any additional money anyway. Someone else made a really good comment stating that even in an American restaurant, you don't tip the dishwasher or cleaning people anyway. You can't see them. You don't see them. Some waiters and bartenders do split tips with the back of the house, but you get the gist. And for those of you thinking, I'll just give cruise workers ducks or bags of candy. Well, it's a nice gesture, but candy doesn't pay the bills in most countries. So, what do you think about the automatic daily gratuity situation? What have you decided to do? Do you believe these statements that we're seeing on Reddit? Subscribe to this channel as we continue to investigate this situation and share your thoughts in the comments.